Episode 47.
Welcome to Into the 99, guys. I'm one of your hosts, Hope.
I'm Daniel.
And today we want to talk about salt.
Salt cards, yeah.
Salty cards. Yeah.
Basically just a list of cards that will get you targeted when you play. And like a quick disclaimer, you're not a bad person if you play these cards.
And your decks aren't bad also.
Yeah. Your decks are probably pretty good. They probably lock people right out.
They're probably hella strong. However, you can probably imagine the look on your playgroup's faces when you play some of these cards.
Yeah, so there are a lot of cards on this list. We're actually just going to use Edh Recs list. For anyone who doesn't know, they have a section at the top in the toolbar. And it's just, they have cards, they have a lot of top cards, but they also have top salty cards. People vote on the cards that make them the angriest.
Which, I mean, is kind of smart because as using Edh Rec as a tool, which is something that we've discussed before, it is a tool and it should be used as such. If you're able to see what the general populace of EDH players really, truly does not enjoy, it gives you a good idea of what your playgroup is probably also going to not enjoy and like what's going to kind of tilt people at your LGS. Well, I mean, if you can play at your LGS.
Well, and another thing too is you're going to notice a theme really quickly with all of these cards. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to start the first one here.
Number one.
It is the number one most hated card at the moment is a blue enchantment, 1 and a blue. It's Stasis. Players do not get an untap phase, pay 1 blue during your upkeep, or it's destroyed. Cards still do not untap until the next untap phase.
Yeah, so you don't get to untap, which is super annoying, with the exception of, like, if you have a way to cheat around it, like a Steedborn or something, then you're G2G. But I would believe so, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that or an Unwinding Clock with artifacts a lot of times, so it's really common in an Urza deck. People will play Unwinding Clock so it untaps all of their artifacts and everyone else gets messed up, while Urza gets the benefit of not having to worry about it.
Yeah, nothing matters for them. But, I guess our Seaborn wouldn't work because it's every player's untap step, right? So yeah. Brutal. But no, I was going to say, like, in the way that it's...
I don't even know if Unwinding Clockwork would work now. I don't know. Regardless, it's...
Stasis is brutal, and the fact that it specifically states... that even if the card is destroyed, you'd still miss that untap
Oh, no,
step.
you'd still miss it too. Untap all artifacts you control during each other player's untap step. So there's just no untap step.
Yeah.
No one gets fun magic.
Yeah, you just slowly have to, like, build up untapped mana until you can do something.
Or until the blue player is done not paying for it.
Yeah.
The next one on the list is an artifact. It's pretty similar. It's Winter Orb. It's 2 mana, generic. A player may not untap more than 1 land during their untap phase of each of his or her turns. So I think we're starting to see a little bit of a theme here.
Yeah, you can't is essentially it. Just I don't even need to elaborate even more than that. Just you can't.
Well, we see a lot of people when they make their complaints about Magic. The biggest one I hear people whine about, and whine is a subjective, but that's what people do. It's that
I also do it. Like, I'm not better than this.
But when people whine about it and stuff, it is that they don't like to not be able to play Magic.
Here.
So when you can't untap, it makes your life a little difficult. Definitely. We'll go to the next one here. It's one of the most annoying cards. This I actually am surprised isn't higher. It's Expropriate.
It's number 3.
Yeah, but it should be number 1. Expropriate is not fun. Most of the Council's Dilemma choices give you something that's like okay-ish. They're not usually this one-sided. Expropriate is 7 and 2. Starting with you, each player votes for time or money. For each time vote, you get an extra turn, and for each money vote, you choose a permanent owned by that voter and gain control of it. Then you exile Expropriate.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty. I don't think anybody's out here voting for time. That would be crazy.
Most people do vote for time, though, because they don't want to lose their permanence.
Take my permanence. I'm not giving you an extra turn.
Well, let's kind of actually delve into this one a little bit.
Let's unpack this.
If you're playing a game, like a deck that relies on a combo piece or something like I just made an Elenda Duskrose deck. If you were going to take my Ozolith, I'm not going to let you take my Ozolith. I'll give you the extra turn because I'm not going to lose that card. It's so important at that deck, right? So it's the same kind of thing. Like if you're playing like slivers, you're not going to lose your Sliver Overlord or Legion to it. Yeah. You'd rather give the extra turn, and the extra turn is always the worst card for sure.
It's the worst. It is the worst.
But at the same time, like if you're in a Voltron deck, you know, if you're playing Sylvia and Korvath like you play in yours, and Sylvia's all equipment up, double strike, or again in your Ajani deck, something like that, and they
Johnny,
or not a Johnny.
Oh, a Rabo. Oh, I'm like,
they're both cats. Cat racism.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you have like a Voltron-esque commander, you can't really be blamed for taking that. Like you can't.
Yeah,
it's not a targeted. Understand. It's not something like they don't get. You choose a permanent. Choose gets around all hex proof, everything like that. So you can lose the most important thing on your field. They can take an Avacyn. They can take like for Brian. They can take your Greater Oromancy. So you know what I mean. Like your Seedborn. Any of those things. They can really mess your board up with that vote. It's a very, very strong card. It's blatant thievery, but on crack.
Yeah, I think that's very valid. I don't know. The idea of giving somebody extra turns to me is never worth it. So.
Extra turns don't annoy me as much as they annoy everyone else. Run Ugin's Nexus.
What's that?
It's a 5-cost artifact that if people would...
Oh, you get it.
Yeah, no. If someone would start an extra turn, they skip it instead.
Excellent.
And then have everyone vote for time.
Beautiful. I just think that the odds of having like that perfect board state are just very... I feel like not enough people play Expropriate for me to run into this Nexus. Yeah,
that's true. Lots of people do play. But like, there's cards that annoy me more, like Lighthouse Chronologists.
Oh, yeah.
To me is more annoying than this, because if you can get it... It actually works really well in all the Proliferate style decks now, because all you need to do is put one counter on it and proliferate it right up.
Yeah, it's
then every time someone else...
It's one of the level up ones, by the way.
Yeah, it's whenever someone else's turn ends, you get a turn, so it's like, it'd go Hope, then me, then Brian, then me, then Sherman, then me, and then...
Then me.
Well, you don't get an extra one on yours. How sad. The next one on the list is one that I joke about all the time because I saw someone in a thread about what was your least favorite commander. I saw one of the ones at the highest votes was Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger, and I just replied. I said, "What kind of animals are you guys playing with?"
Yeah, who is out here making Vorinclex their commander?
For anyone who has not had the pleasure of seeing this big boy hit the table,
it's the Green Praetor.
It is the Green Praetor. It's 6 green. Mm-hmm. For a 7/6 trample.
Which is huge.
Yeah, when you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that land produced.
Nice.
Whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, it doesn't untap during their next untap step.
So you get double and they have to skip untap steps with their mana, which is disgusting, especially since you're already in green, obviously.
Yeah, it's
playing Vorinclex.
Pretty brutal.
So it's very easy that you could be tapping for tons of mana.
Oh yeah, it's
conjunction.
Generally, even if you aren't able to tap with it, it causes everyone who has to try remove it to lose their mana that they had for it.
Yeah.
And if you can protect them, so if you can throw something like a Lightning Greaves on them, then it's 2 removal spells someone has to play. They've got to get rid of the Greaves and they've got to get rid of that.
Yeah. Well, and it hurts because they have to do that and they really have to sacrifice for the table at that point. Because it's not just about removing something and burning your destruction or your removal spells. It's about losing your mana for the next turn because like it still doesn't untap.
Well, yeah, it's taking an extra turn again doesn't bug me so much, but me not getting to do anything on my turn is kind of annoying.
And that's basically what Vorinclex means. It means you get to do something this turn and you don't get to do anything next turn.
Yeah, exactly. Hope that you have some Llanowar Elves that tap for mana.
Or you have some like artifacts like what's it called? Astral Cornucopia or something like that.
Big mana rocks.
Yeah, big boy mana rocks.
Big boy rocks is right.
Yeah.
I'll let Hope talk about the next one here.
Oh, I love this card. I shouldn't, but I do. Hi, my name is Hope and I'm a bad person. It's Jokelhops. So, which is 4 and 2 red, and it's a sorcery. Destroy all artifacts, creatures, and lands can't be regen.
Such a funny card because, like, it doesn't hit enchantments, number 1. So, enchantment-based decks tend to run this and then run roughshod over the table with it. But it's just, if you're going to destroy lands, like, everyone talks about how you don't want to do that in Magic. It's an unwritten rule. But if you're going to destroy all the lands, yelling Jockle Hops is the funniest way to do it.
It is, yeah. I think it's because it's so ridiculous. I think that's why I like it, because don't get me wrong, like it's not going to make me any friends.
Yeah.
But I think it's hilarious on a deep level. And I never really play salt stuff.
It's called a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Look it up,
so
sweetheart.
Jockle Hops in my new deck.
In which one?
Perhaps. It runs red.
Oh, yeah. In your... maybe.
Yeah, it's a...
It also doesn't hit planeswalkers. That's a good thing to realize as well. So in a Super Friends deck that for some reason runs red, you'd be okay.
Yeah. It is definitely an option. So it's just something to keep in mind. Like, it's definitely going to tilt your friends, but like, it's not... It doesn't destroy everything. And it's destroy. Destroy is like super easy to get around.
We're going to get into a card that is one of the cards that's made me the angriest in Magic, and it's because of Urza. Urza is just... First off, Urza is probably one of the strongest commanders, and I'll go into a rant of someone who should be on this list after. It'll be my little outro. But Static Orb in Urza is just an absolutely bonkers card. If Static Orb is untapped, players can untap more than 2 permanents during their untap steps. And Urza has the ability to tap things for mana, so Urza gets to untap. Everyone else can only untap 2 permanents. And this skews the board significantly in favor of the Urza player. They can tap it for mana to possibly Flusterstorm your spell that you're trying to get rid of it with. Like, it's very, very strong. It protects them a lot. I've seen this. Urza breaks a lot of cards.
Breaks a lot of rules,
but this one,
unwritten rules.
But this one is one that definitely just really shines in his deck. It's good in like most kind of stacksy decks. Yeah. But in Urza, it's just an overwhelming card.
I agree.
Yeah, I cannot express how good it is in Urza.
And how annoying it is.
Yeah. Another Praetor's on the list.
And then also another one that is very good in specific decks.
Yep.
So it's the blue Praetor's Jin-Gitaxias Core Augur, which is 8 and 2 blue, which is very expensive for a 5/4. And you're thinking 10 mana for a 5/4.
You're definitely not going to see this one as a commander.
No, hell no.
You might, though.
That'd be insane.
You might.
No. It has flash, and then at the beginning of your end step, draw 7 cards. And each opponent's maximum hand size is reduced by 7.
Which, it will make them discard their hands at the end, but if they have something that gives them no maximum hand size, no maximum hand size is infinite hand size, and infinite minus 7 is still infinite.
Yeah.
So, it does not hit people with like a Reliquary Tower, a Spellbook out, stuff like that. But
most people.
It does really wreck the game for most people. It puts them on a clock where they now have to deal with this card on their next turn, or they lose their hand. Yeah. And for a lot of people, they are not willing to lose their hand, so you become hated out of the game very, very aggressively. A fun story for anyone who doesn't know, a player in our play group put this in a group hug deck. Brian.
Yeah, a player, not to name names.
Yeah, not to name any names, but it was Brian. Brian put it in a group hug deck. Yeah. And Brian, I don't even think can play that group hug deck anymore because now he just gets everyone targeting him because they still...
He took it out.
They remember the nightmares.
Yeah. Never forget. I'm like an elephant.
Never forget those. The next card is my least favorite card in all of Magic.
Okay.
It's Cyclonic Rift. I hate that card in general.
But have you seen this new artwork? Beautiful.
Every regard, I hate it. I will say now...
I disagree. I don't hate it in every regard. I don't like it when you overload it, but I think for a 2 mana bounce something to somebody's hand, no problem with that.
I agree, but unfortunately you can't only have half the cards, so I hate it. I hate its versatility. It's a very strong card, and it does make people very angry in general because a lot of time it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
A lot of time it's just an annoying thing. As I've said many, many times, and I will say again, using Cyclonic Rift is a crutch for your bad deck building.
If you're gonna use Cycler, kill me.
But that's the thing, most people can't. If it was like it's not like a Triumph of the Hordes. Triumph of the Hordes is also kind of an auto include in a deck where you're running lots of things or big things and you want to roll over.
Lots of things?
Well, lots of 1/1 things, okay. Like Avenger of Zendikar kind of things. Or
most decks.
Most things.
Lots of things, yes. 100 things.
100 things, yes. 100 things minus your commander. But it doesn't stop the game. I attack, it continues. Maybe some creatures die, maybe you die, but that's it. It is It isn't.
It is.
I've been watching too much Metalocalypse. I'm sorry.
It is.
It is a card that is generally used to close the game out. It's an I want to win card.
I want to kill you with impact.
It's time to go. Yeah. Here we go. But this isn't that. This is
I need
often,
to rebuild.
I would say 1 out of 90 times this card closes a game out. And the other 89 times I just glare at people after they cast it. Because they don't do anything. They just cast it and they're like, okay, well, I've reset your board state. So someone did it to me the other day, literally while I had 27 mana on the field.
Oh, foolish.
I was ramping hard. They're like, I'll Psych Rift. Pass. I was like, all right, I'll play my field out again. Then I just attacked them for the rest of the game.
Relentlessly.
Yeah, because I am a poor sport when it comes to Cyclonic Rift. Fair. I could go on mini rants. I set one on fire for this reason.
Yeah, that's true. You definitely have gone on rants before, so let's move on.
Before we move on.
I feel like we can move on.
Before we move on. Take these out of your deck. Your playgroup doesn't like them, number one. And number two, it's not even that they don't like them. It's making you a worse player. It's giving you like spot removal that you don't have to think as much for. A lot of people can tutor it up and, oh, well, I'm just going to overloaded Psych Rift and that'll at least buy me a few turns. Don't do that. Build your decks better. Don't rely on this one card just because everyone else plays it. It's undoubtedly a good card, but it's also undoubtedly an annoying card that just should slot into every blue deck that has 7 mana at instant speed. Like, it's not a great card. And like I said, for a lot of people, it is just a defensive crutch because they did not build well against the deck types in their meta. You didn't deal with the aggro types, so you didn't put in like a dissipation field or something to protect yourself. You didn't deal with the spell-heavy people who were countering your spells, so you didn't have good answers. You didn't have answers to your meta, and that's why you play this card. It's not a good card. Well, it's not a good card to play.
I mean, yeah, it's objectively a good card, but I understand where you're coming from.
They should ban Cyclonic Rift.
2020.
Yeah.
The next one's Decree of Annihilation. It's 8 and 2 red. It's sorcery. Remove all artifacts, creatures, lands, graveyards, and hands from the game. Yeet. Or you can cycle it for 7 and just destroy all lands.
Very interestingly, this is actually super good in Gavi because Gavi lets you once a turn cycle cards for 0 cost. So in Gavi, this 10 mana spell is a 0 cost destroy all lands.
Ew.
Yeah, it's really, really good. So it's a really good way to be able to get Teferi's Protection above it.
Oh, smart.
Yeah, things like that. Or like you can bring your lands back whatever way you do bring them back.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do in Gavi, but it's generally that...
yeah, I don't like this.
Yeah, it's generally a Teferi's Protection-esque effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really strong. So you destroy all lands. Nobody likes it.
You can play it for 0, or you can play it for like... It's just for one for free, even if it has colored mana?
Yes. Every turn with Gavi, you can cycle 1 card for 0 mana. So, not only is it literal cancer,
I mean...
but they get to draw off
That's objective.
But they get to draw off it.
Oh no.
Yeah,
That's so mean.
Yeah, so in Gavi, this is a 0 cost to draw a card, destroy all lands. It's pretty brutal.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Next is another card very on theme. It's Armageddon. Destroy all lands.
Destroy all lands.
Yep.
I mean, we've all been there.
Generally, people that like run these cards, Dean, will put like they'll have something like a Smothering Tithe out, so that they're still getting their mana up and going while they do this. Like everyone draws, rebuilds. They don't have the mana to do anything. You have, as Dean calls them, the Schatz tokens. That's treasure token in German.
Yes.
And yeah, it's not a super fun card. I'm going to skip one and go to the next one because it does the same thing. It's Obliterate. It's 8 mana. Can't be countered. Great. Destroy all artifacts, creatures, and lands. They can't be regenerated.
Definitely a theme. It's either you can't play or we're going to get rid of all the stuff that you did play.
Yeah, exactly. You can't play again. The card before it is... So we're a little torn on this one.
Are we?
No. Well, in general, like, I mean, in EDH and CEDH. This is not a card you will see hit the table pretty much ever. I don't know anyone else who has one. Okay. I have one. It's in my Paco and Halden deck because it's really good. There's only 2 creatures in that deck. All creatures, it's a Tabernacle of Pendrell Vale. At Pendrell Vale. Sorry. It's a legendary land. All creatures now require an upkeep cost of 1 in addition to any other cost they have. If it's not paid, that creature is destroyed. So, number 1, indestructible will get around this in general. If all your creatures are indestructible,
doesn't matter.
Pay nothing for them. It's totally fine. However, the reason that this shouldn't really be the salt card is it's $2,200. No one is dropping a $2,200 card in like a casual pod and stuff. It's generally a higher powered deck, and people should run land removal. I can't stress that enough. The idea that like lands are these sacred things you can't target is nonsense. You should get rid of Field of the Dead.
I think spot land removal is totally fine.
Yeah, mass land destruction I can understand being salty about, but like you should get rid of Field of the Dead when it hits the field. Mm-hmm. You should get rid of Maze's End when I play it in Golos.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. Like there's a lot of like, you don't leave a Gaia's Cradle alone in
an elf deck?
Yeah, well I was going to say an elf deck or a token deck, something like that. There are some lands that Bazaar Baghdad, you have to try to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that, yeah. But like I said, it's a spot removal, totally fine. Mass destruction, you're a bad person, it's fine.
Yeah. The next one, again, on theme, Apocalypse. 2/3 red. Remove all permanents from the game and discard your hand.
Oof. All permanents.
It's pretty brutal. Exile, not destroy.
We are restarting.
Yep.
I hope you didn't tutor out all your good stuff.
Yeah, discard. And you are the only one who gets their hand discarded, which is pretty rough.
Yeah.
But
still.
Yeah, it's actually not too bad. I actually, funny story, run this combo in a deck because I'm the worst. So it's in my Hazard the Fervent deck. Yeah. So what I do is I put Hazard the Fervent on the stack.
Yeah.
And then with Vidalcan Orrery, I flash this card.
Yeah.
So it removes all cards, removes my hand so Hazard can attack, and then puts Hazard into play. And then I can just keep like beasting people with Hazard.
You're a bad person.
Yeah. They can't block. It's very fun. Urza is arguably the strongest card printed for Commander. I don't believe anything else is. He is the next one on the list. He is Urza, Lord High Artificer, 2 blue. Urza's still an expensive card, sitting at $35 well after release.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, he has not come down at all.
35 on at the lowest you can probably find it.
Yeah,
US.
And that's not foil. You want a foil one, good luck.
Yeah, that's nasty. And that's exactly what we said, you know. So Urza enters the battlefield, create a construct.
First off, 1 second. He's a 1/4. That's a huge body on a 4/4. Yeah, he's not meant to attack, but it is a huge body.
Yeah.
Then Urza has 3 abilities. All 3 are good. So I will start the first one. When he enters the battlefield, you create a 0/0 colorless construct token with, it gets 1/1 for each artifact you control. So at a minimum, it is always a 1/1.
Yes. Then you have tap an untapped artifact you control, add 1 blue, which is major. That's a major thing, and that's why whenever you see an Urza deck, you're going to expect to see low cost and tons of artifacts. So it's just like mana.
Yeah, but at least they have to build draw into the deck to use that mana. Nope, they have a third ability. And it's 5. Shuffle your library, then exile the top card. Until the end of the turn, you may play it without paying its mana cost.
Wow.
It's really annoying. You can generate, if you can do like an infinite mana, like Rings of Bright Hearth, Basalt Monolith combo, stuff like that, then you just get your infinite mana and, I'll play my whole deck. Blah, 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 blah. It also can just like rip things that are ridiculous off the top, such as Omniscience or Blightsteel Colossus, or both.
Yeah, and if you rip the Omniscience, that's it.
Yeah.
You're done, son.
It is really, really, really good.
Oh, yeah, it's nasty.
Urza is a super strong commander. I think he's cool. I don't think there's a fun way to build Urza. Fun is subjective.
I think we've discussed this.
Fun is subjective. We have definitely discussed this. Fun is subjective. Just because I don't think it's fun doesn't mean it's not fun. But
I think it's fun for the Urza player.
Yeah, I don't see a way that like you can. You know what? You're right. Yeah. And
because you go off, like that would be fun.
And you know what? The other thing is too, we got to remember you are part of your own play group, so your fun does matter too.
Yes, it does.
Even if it's not super fun for other players, like that shouldn't mean you shouldn't get to play it.
I wholeheartedly agree. Just because you don't like it, that's not my problem. Look at me in my face. Build better.
Yeah, build more removal. Hi guys, this is my Kataki deck. Oh, it makes all artifacts have 1 cost in the upkeep. It's a tabernacle for articles or artifacts.
Great.
Yeah. Mindslaver is kind of funny as a card.
I understand why it's salty though, because Mindslaver, okay, so it's a 6 cost, and for 4 and a tap, you control target player's next turn, and it's only 4 costs to do it, and it's on a tap, so you can do it once a turn.
Well, a lot of people, the problem is a lot of these cards again are, unless they're the mass land destruction, it's if you abuse them.
Yeah. Because
like I understand like Urza is because he's so abusable. Static Orb is because he's so abusable in Urza. Sorry. And in this, the legendary artifact that is Mindslaver, it's very, very easy to recur. It's really, really easy to get it back to the field, pay 4 mana. So it's more problematic in a one-on-one.
It's also very easy. Yeah. It's also very easy to have something that can untap it, so you just get to do it again.
No, you have to sack it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Force sack it. So you have to recur it from the grave.
Still.
But like in like a Muldrotha, for instance, if we were playing 1-on-1 and I have 10 mana, you just don't get a turn while I continuously get more mana.
Yeah.
Right? So until I have more mana or enough mana to kill you, like if you have some blockers, I swing them into my creatures and kill them because that's how it works. So
then it's my turn again.
It's more problematic in a one-on-one. It's kind of annoying in this, but like in like a Duretti Scrap Savant deck, like that whole deck theme is about bringing artifacts back.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's another good one, but again, it's how you use it. If you use it just one time, if you Mindslaver someone at the table one time, that cannot be a bad thing. It's I'm going to take Hope's turn, but I'm going to use it to kill someone who's a problem to me.
Yeah.
That's just a threat assessment thing, and that's not such a big deal.
Would I, Hope, be annoyed? Yeah, for sure.
But well, again though, it's what you do with it. If I took your turn and I was like, I'm going to swing out and I'm going to kill this guy.
Yeah.
At least you do something, right? But for a lot of people, they'll like do this. They'll do exactly. They'll do the effect, tap your mana, blow your good spells. I've seen people cast tempt. I saw somebody tempt with Discovery themselves and then go and get like a forest with it. So they went and like picked like 4 forests while everyone else got like the other good cards. It was pretty rough. The next card is again
another land destruction.
Devastation. 5 red, destroy all creatures and all lands.
And then next we have Sunder, which is
arguably super annoying. I can't even make an excuse for this one. Destroy all lands is one thing. Sunder is an instant speed. Again, I have talked many times about how instant speeds are brutal. It's 5 mana instant in blue. Again, because why wouldn't it be? 3 blue, and Hope, what does it do?
Return all lands to their owner's hands.
Yeah.
So you have to discard them yourself.
I was going to say, which is, hey, discard everyone's lands.
Yeah. Unless you have like a Reliquary Tower, then you just play it next.
Yeah, that you play your 1 land for the turn and just hold the rest of them is brutal.
Well, I mean, it's better than having to discard everything.
Barely.
I'm
just
I'm
barely.
Just saying.
The next card, I personally don't understand why this is on anyone's salt list.
Same.
At all.
Something I was thinking about last night.
When we did a quick look through this. Number one, if you don't like this card, you're a baby. That's the only thing I could say. Like that again, I say that there's no right or wrong. You're wrong. This is not a card that's. It's a fun card to play. You're a baby if you don't like this card.
I feel like that's also super subjective, but whatever. What card is it, Donnie?
It's Send Triplets. Send Triplets is 2 and Esper, so white, blue, black. It's a legendary artifact creature, human wizard. So again, before we even get into what it is or what it does, artifact removal and creature removal will remove this from the board. It is a 5-cost commander, which means 1 removal spell of either type by any of your 3 opponents turns this into a 7-mana card.
Yeah, which is expensive.
Grow up.
Oh.
So anyways, it's a...
Move on, stop bullying.
It's a 3/3. It's at the beginning of your upkeep. Choose target opponent. This turn, that player can't play spells or activated abilities and plays with their hand revealed. You can play cards from that player's hand this turn. Slightly annoying, but like not enough, in my opinion, to be... It's on the list besides Sunder.
Well, but that's the thing. It's like, because it's your upkeep. It's not on any turn on any upkeep. So you're not like affecting somebody else's turn.
Yeah, once a turn on my turn, I can stop 1 player from casting stuff during my turn.
Yep.
So if they had any instance or things to do, they could have done it before my turn started.
Yeah.
Right? So, not a big deal. And again, I get to play things from their hand. It doesn't let me play them without different mana costs, so I have
You
to...
have to have the right colors.
Yeah, if I haven't built it into the deck, and I choose Hope and she's playing green, then...
bad.
Yeah, exactly. What do? I look
Take
at her
my
hand.
forest, I guess?
You can play their lands, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
I won't discount that.
Yeah, that's pretty annoying. That's a very valid complaint, because you can absolutely mana screw somebody that way.
But it's just really fun. I play this as a semi-group hug deck, which is interesting to me. So it's a ton of draw, but then I run lots of things like reflecting pools. I run lots of things that are like mana of any color taps.
Here's the thing, though, is like, just because you play it fun doesn't mean other people do.
I could see an
like,
annoying
you play
control
it kind
style.
of silly, and that's the thing. Is I feel like it's in Esper colors,
Yeah.
so it's very easy to make it control-y and make it and to do exactly what you're saying before, which is to abuse it.
Yeah, that is true. I guess you could abuse it, but
Yeah.
at the same time, like, I don't...
Just because you don't see it,
I've
and you
seen
don't
people...
play it.
I've played against a Stacks version of this deck, and I didn't think it was that bad. Like, I thought it was okay, but it's... Again, it's not Urza.
Yeah.
Urza's way more brutal. And, you know, like, there's... It's okay.
Maybe that says more about our local meta.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think Urza's just more brutal. Urza's less mana.
No, obviously Urza's brutal, but I'm saying, like, for us to not have an issue with Send triplets.
Well, yeah, no one plays Send triplets.
Don't.
I should do a Send triplets deck tech.
Yeah, let's do this.
We should put them on our team.
We should put him on our team.
Smokestack is hilarious.
Okay.
I love it. So Smokestack is a 4-mana artifact. During your upkeep, a lot of these cards from old sets, by the way. A lot of these cards from old sets. Don't make that face. Hope doesn't like
A lot
Smokestack.
of these cards from Urza Saga.
Yeah. Urza Saga was a problem
It's a
set.
wild time.
Yeah. It's during your upkeep, you can put a soot counter on Smokestack. During each player's upkeep, that player sacks a permanent for each soot counter on Smokestack. So, in the first one, you can... the first time you do it, you don't have to sack anything. You can remove soot stack or Smokestack. You don't have to deal with it yourself. You can just sacrifice it. Most people put this in like a token-based deck because you don't care if you're sacking tokens. Like a Risk the Redeemed for bad people runs this. like that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like my Rith the Awakener deck used to run this in it because I had so many tokens that I could use. Yeah. Sack my saplings while you have to sack your things, because for a lot of people it hits land. I have seen this in proliferate decks. That's not cool. That's pretty brutal. Hilarious, but it's pretty brutal.
Just for the record, I'm giving Daniel the old stare down.
She's glaring.
Well, as I should be.
Yeah, Ravages of War is the next one. It's just Armageddon with nice artwork.
That's entirely accurate.
Yep.
The one after that, though, is one that I actually have opinions on.
1 second here.
What?
$139 for this Armageddon. It's not Armageddon. It's still the same one. Ravages of War is $139. You want to blow my lands up with a $139 card? I'll allow it. You know what? You put a lot of salt.
You earned it.
Yeah, you put a lot of salt into that one, and I can respect that. Yeah, the next one I'll let Hope go off on because she has some opinions.
Well, I'm not even going to go off.
She has opinions.
It's just the creature Narset. So Narset Enlightened Master 3 and Jeskai colors to doing. So blue, red, white.
Before you even read what it does, let me jump in. It's not
okay.
just Narset creature. It's every Narset. Everything to do with her as a planeswalker or creature is just a bad card.
I disagree.
It's brutal.
I just disagree.
Okay.
First strike hexproof for 3/2, which is like not too bad. However, when she attacks,
Yep.
not hits, attacks, exile the top 4 cards of your library until at the end of turn. You may cast non-creature cards exiled with Narset this turn without paying their mana cost.
Which is generally, hey, I'm going to take a bunch of extra turns. Here's an Octopus Umbra. Here's a bunch of Planeswalkers. That's the way one of my brothers used to play it. Narset is generally meant to abuse things. And again, we've talked many times, it's about abusing things.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you could make a really cool Narset deck that was like throwing out equipments and enchantment themed, and it was making all, but no, it's a lot of the time it's I'm gonna swing, and then they do that same Armageddon kind of play.
Yeah.
Because they don't need their lands, and then they just continue on. Yeah. It's like Armageddon time stretch, so they take their extra turns, Beacon of Tomorrow an extra turn, and then like a Gideon.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty rough one.
Yeah. It's just the fact that like when she is abused, and again, like we said, like it's all about abuse, but like when somebody abuses her in that manner, it just makes her super aggressive, super control-y.
Yeah, Narset is a really, really strong commander.
So.
She's very good control. Like, if you can ramp her out in a competitive deck, very, very strong, has a lot of... But I think a lot of the commanders in that are like Elisha of the Infinite is another commander of similar cost. She's 1 less, so 5 instead of 6. But she does similar, like, hardcore things. Like, she can let you cast non-creature spells off the top of your deck at flash speed. Again, like, it's just kind of the color combination. They've got white. They've got white. They've got to give it something.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Big mood.
Here's 1,000 damage, 4 extra turns, and 8 life.
Wow.
Yeah, white's pretty bad in some of these, but Grand Arbiter Augustin, I like this card, to be honest. Augustin the what? The fourth, yes. He's 2 and Azorius, white blue, for a human advisor, so you can run persistent petitioners in it. Let's not get that out of our head.
Don't get it twisted, baby.
Yeah. White spells you cast are 1 less. Blue spells you cast are 1 less. Spells your opponents cast are 1 more to cast. First off, that's pretty brutal. Yeah. So other things that you cast that are that way are pretty bad. The only time I've seen this played not fun for me was when somebody was doing things like Sakashima on it, Helm of the Host, and they just like had a ton of them. Like, it was everything.
You cannot play.
Yeah, it was like the Bola statue card, whatever it is, like the
Godfair statue?
Yeah, exactly. There was Pharaoh's Ban, which is creatures cost 2 more to play. Like, there was just a lot of, like, you had to play a lot of mana to do things, and a lot of people, that was a boring game because this, I could see again if he was doing something, but he was just thinking it was funny to just stacks the table out.
That is pretty funny.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I respect that.
Yeah, if you're just gonna,
if you're out here doing it for the meme,
yeah,
I respect you.
Yeah, sometimes you have to do it for the meme. It is it's a pretty good one.
Also, speaking of time stretch,
yeah, so time stretch is also on the list. Target player takes 2 extra turns after this one.
Costs 10 though.
Yeah, you know what? Break the stigma. Play it and target other players. I'm gonna give Hope 2 extra turns.
That'd be hilarious.
That's how I play it in some decks.
That'd be so funny. But yeah, it's 8 and 2 blue. Like, that's a very expensive card. I don't know.
10 mana is pretty rough unless you have like an Omniscience or something out. But like it's pretty good. Like well, again, you can Narset this out. Yeah. The next card is one, again, lots of these I have opinions on, and I'm like, okay, like these aren't the worst, these are okay, they're all right in a normal sense. I have never seen this card actually resolve without a game ending. Every time I've seen people play the next card, not the time stretch, the next card, every time I've seen it, everyone will pick up and stop playing the game.
Really? I love this kind of nonsense.
Try cast this in any one deck. I had this in Norn the Wary, and it never once got to resolve because everyone was done playing at that point. It's Thieves' Auction.
You still win.
It's 4 triple red. You set aside all cards in play. Starting with you, each player chooses one of the cards set aside and puts it into play tapped under their control. Repeat until all of the cards have been chosen. It, like, Warp World, I understand, like, that some people don't like that and stuff, but at least you get your own cards. This is just like, let's throw this all in and hope none of us have the same sleeve color to try, and I don't think I've actually seen a more annoying card than this one. I also like it. I think it's fun.
I like chaos.
Yeah.
So
I think it's fun. We have a new set, but like a lot of people like
what?
Or a new set of cards to play with. Sorry.
I'm
yeah.
Like,
so, but I've seen a bunch of people that just like everyone goes for here's the creature and they'll just take all the lands. Yeah, I've seen it start to resolve, and then somebody's like, "I'm gonna take your Ulamog," and they're like, "I'm done. I'm leaving the game." Yeah, a lot of people do not like this in general. It's pretty fun.
Dumb. That would be annoying because then if somebody left and their cards were what?
I scrolled down the list. Warp World's right, like directly under it, basically.
Stop.
So yeah, the next one. Well, I'm just gonna do Warp World now.
Yeah.
Warp World is 5 triple red. I dislike Warp World for the same reason I dislike Cyclonic Rift. For a lot of times, it just slowly resets the game. But in some decks, like when I try to cast it in Windgrace, for example. I'm trying to end the game. I have like 80 zombies out. I'm trying to landfall my whole deck. I want to win the game in one big go. If you're not trying to do that and you're just trying to Warp World because you think it's funny, I agree.
It is funny.
I totally agree. You should do it.
It's super funny.
I don't think it's a salty card. I think more people should play things like this. Like, get over your serious deck and
But
have
you
a good
just said
time.
that you hate it.
No. I hate it for the same reason as Cyclonic Rift, because it like drags a game out.
But it is.
But at least in a funny way.
Yeah, this is Great Aurora.
Yeah, I
better.
love Great Aurora. I'm sure watch will go down. It'll be a great time there.
Great Aurora.
Each player shuffles all permanents he or she owns into their library, then reveals that many cards from the top of their library. Each player puts all artifact, creature, and lands revealed this way onto the battlefield, then does the same for enchantment. The reason it says then does the same for enchantments is so that all your enchantments have legal targets. Yes. Then they put all cards revealed this way that weren't put onto the battlefield on the bottom of their library. First off, it's super fun to do. Yeah. I love it. It's just, Gen Wave for the group.
Yeah. I like it. But again, I like chaos.
Yeah.
So I'm not really the best judge of whether or not this is a salt card, because I think that stuff is hilarious.
And again, let's keep in mind, these cards are going to get you targeted if you play them.
Oh, totally.
In general, like
if you Warp World and it resolves, you are public enemy number
my
one,
Centroplets deck, again, like I think it's fun in Group Hug. It doesn't change that everyone tries to wipe that off the board.
Yeah.
I've
done it.
They try to genocide that card.
So I've played that deck, and like I remember I played that deck early on in my Magic career, and I was like, I don't know why I keep getting targeted, but I didn't really know, right? I'm like, I just want to look at your hand.
Yeah, I just want to see what's going on.
Just tell me what's
just a
up.
single player telepathy. Yeah. Nothing more, really.
I just need your planes.
Yeah. Teferi Time Traveler is the one that was right above it.
Time Raveler.
Time Traveler. Either way, he's going places. It's 1 white blue for Planeswalker starting at 4. It's the War of the Spark one. First off, loved all of the War of the Spark static abilities. Can't get over how much I like that on Planeswalker.
Static abilities ruled. I'm so happy that they are still a thing. Like, they're awesome.
And that's the thing. Like, they were supposed to, like, the whole War of the Spark thing, they're supposed to make the Planeswalkers a little less powerful, because Planeswalkers, for a lot of people, like, they were supposed to be powerful things in it, so it made sense.
But they were overpowered to some degree.
Yeah, and like, everything is like, you get an emblem where you win the game and no one can cast anything. Yeah, it's just
you also get to take their deck home.
Yeah, like Jace the Mind Sculptor's like minus ability of like exile their library, their hand becomes their library. That's kind of nonsensical. It's pretty brutal. Yeah. A lot of these are a bit more balanced. And I just like the passive ability.
The static ability to me means that this is a 3 cost. Each opponent can only cast spells anytime they cast sorcery.
Yeah, a great card. It really shuts a lot of
enchantment.
things down. +1 until your next turn, you can cast sorcery spells as though they had flash.
Awesome.
I love that mechanic.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yes. We were talking about how you would like that on a commander.
Oh, yeah. Spoilers.
Oh.
Spoilers. Shh. Spoilers,
You
Hope.
heard nothing.
Until your next turn, you may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash, and then for -3, return up to 1 target artifact, creature, or enchantment to its owner's hand and draw a card. Nothing broken about that. I don't think that that's brutal in any way.
I don't know why that's on the list.
The other thing, I was going to say, maybe it's like because of standard players, but this is Edh Recs list, so this is EDH players. Yeah, you can't cast instants. And
it starts at 4.
Yeah.
Just kill it then.
Yeah, it's not the great. I like the next card a lot. I understand why it's on the list. And
as it very well should be.
The reason it's on the list is for 2 things. Thing number 1, you can cheat it in really easily, and you can end the game. And reason number 2 is because it should not end the game. We have, even commander damage. Commander damage, you've got to hit someone for 21. You have to hit people for at least 40 damage if they have no life gain. Blightsteel Colossus up in here with Trample, Infect, Indestructible. 12 mana for an 11/11. Let's not discount how brutal that is. 12 generic mana. Any color. Whatever you've got.
Yeah. You got a Mana Crypt, Mana Vault Soul Ring, you're almost there, my dude.
Yeah.
You can hard cast it.
Yeah, it's indestructible, but you know what? I'm going to give it -11. No, it goes back into your deck. If it'd be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal it and shuffle it into its owner's library instead. So it's a strong card. The reason it's on this list is because Infect rules in Commander are broken. There's not enough Infect to make it worthwhile, and it gets you targeted. Infect should, in general, just be on the list. Infect will get you targeted, but 10 to kill someone is pretty light.
I agree.
I personally kind of think it should be bumped to 15, maybe even 20.
I thought 20. I've been saying 20 for
20 would
years.
be, yeah. I don't know. It's pretty rough, like to have 10 end the game for someone. And again, end the game in a way like they're counters. They can be proliferated. So even if they hit you with one,
commander damage has to be 21. I feel like Infect should easily have to be 20.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is
you can interact with it, just like you said. You can proliferate it.
Yeah, and I can't proliferate commander damage. I can't just get you once early with it and then just be like, well, I built a deck around proliferate, so too bad.
Like, that's what I don't understand.
Yeah, a Blightsteel is arguably the most justified card on this list so far. We have next Hokori Dust Drinker. 2 white for a legendary spirit. Oh, this could be a commander. Interesting. Lands don't untap during their controller's untap step. The beginning of each player's upkeep, that player untaps a land he or she controls.
Well, you get a land.
Yeah, 1 land. So that's...
What are you complaining about?
That's pretty cool.
Wow.
This Seedborn would untap, so... Yes,
yeah. So that's not as bad, but I get the salt.
We're getting into some dark magic here.
Yeah, we're getting into the Nether Void, baby. So
I like Nether
for
Void.
3 and a black, enchant world, which, as we've discussed, only 1 enchant world can be in the
yeah, exactly. It is a super type.
Yeah, super. And it's all spells are countered unless your caster pays an additional 3.
Yep.
3.
Pretty cool.
So that's not cool.
Pretty cool.
Not cool.
I have a player in our play group who plays the next one, and I just don't like this card. Humility.
A player in your play group?
Yeah, a player in my play group.
Nameless?
Yeah, nameless. He's been on the podcast once or twice. His name's Brian. This is a call out. Brian. You'll notice a lot of your cards are on this list. Brian. No, it's Humility, and it's 2 white. And the reason that I don't like this card so much is most of my answers are ETB. I really like ETB. I've said many times that it's like one of my favorite things in all of Magic. And it is pretty brutal to not be able to ETB. It's all creatures lose all abilities and have base power and toughness 1/1. And go ahead and read that flavor text if you would, Hope.
I just did. It was very funny. 1 cannot cleanse the wounds of failure.
Karn, because why wouldn't it be?
Well, that makes sense, though.
Yeah.
He's failed.
Yeah. Anyways,
deeply.
It's pretty brutal. It can shut a lot of decks down. You want to beat a sliver deck, drop Humility. They're going to cut that one out for sure. The next one, Hope?
Next is a Fate. I mean...
It's okay.
It's fine. It's 5 and 2 blue, and it's an instant. So take an extra turn after this one. If it would be put into a graveyard, you shuffle it instead. Yeah,
this card it was very bad for Standard. It's pretty brutal. Hope really likes Sarkhan in general.
Of course I do.
So she likes the artwork. She likes the flavor text. Again, the instant speed is pretty rough, and the ability for it to be put into the deck again, like most extra turns generally exile.
Yeah.
But this one just keeps going.
Yeah.
So it's very...
It's the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah, it's very, very easy to continuously deal with, or continuously cast, sorry.
Yeah.
Scrambleverse. We're getting pretty deep in the list. We're only going to go over a few more here. But yeah, we're going to do Scrambleverse. It's, again, it's like a Thieves Auction kind of. It's 6 red. For each non-land permanent, choose a player at random. Then each player gains control of each permanent for which they were chosen. Untap those permanents.
I would say this is objectively worse than the auction. Because you don't get to pick. You just get whatever.
Yeah. You roll a dice and you see where it goes.
Somebody might get everything.
Yeah. Roll a dice. 1 to 5 is me. 6 to 10 is
you.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
I know.
just continuously go.
I objectively think it's way worse. Like I said, somebody could get everything. You could get nothing. Or you could get all the garbage and they could get all the good stuff.
This next card I actually don't hate so much. I think it's a really, really good answer for commanders.
Same.
Oko, Thief of Crowns. 1 and Simic. It starts at 4. +2, create a food token. Great ability.
Yep.
+1, target artifact or creature loses all abilities and becomes a green elk with base power and toughness 3/3. So it can shut down commander pretty easily.
I do think it's kind of wild that Oko has 2+ abilities. I think that the elk one should be a -1.
I agree. Because it is like a protect himself with a plus, which is pretty rough.
Yeah.
It's -5, exchange control of target artifact or creature you control, and target creature an opponent controls with power 3 or less. So you can not only make their commander a 3/3 elk, you can take their commander.
Yes. Which is kind of brutal.
Yep.
But I don't really have the same issue with Oko that everybody else seems to have. I think it's a cool removal. I just wish that it was a -1.
I think he's a pretty cool card, but I think maybe the issue is that Commander players just didn't really get him.
Yeah.
A lot of players in Standard needed these, so the price was so high for so long that it wasn't worthwhile to run in a Commander deck.
Even still, Oko has come down quite a bit, but even still,
well, that's because he's banned and everything.
But even still, it's less about his price. It's still about his scarcity. He's still quite difficult to find.
Yeah.
It's still, I know it's banned, but...
Well, just because it's banned doesn't mean tabletop players aren't going to keep playing it.
And it hasn't rotated.
Yep.
Technically. So if somebody's just playing tabletop and they're not too worried about it or whatever, like, then...
Yeah. So it's and if they're playing 4 off of it, because at 3 mana, it's pretty rough.
Yeah. You just don't see him very often.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I like him a lot.
So, me too.
I'm not usually upset, and it's usually my commander that gets elked.
Yeah, yeah, which is true. And the thing that gets me is whenever somebody exactly elks you, it's funny. Like, I laugh every single time.
Let me quickly also remind everyone, if you are elked by Oko, it is still your commander. Mm-hmm. You are still able to kill them with commander damage from it. Yeah. It does not become not your commander. So somebody did it in Kumena.
Yeah.
So someone got my Kumena with it, and I was like, okay, cool. And then
I hit you for 3.
No, they passed to my turn. Kumena had like 21 counters on it.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was like, Rogue's Passage and make it unblockable. And they're like, okay, I take 20. I was like, nah. No, son, it's not like that.
No.
Yeah, no. You take everything. You're
you are dead.
Yeah, elk for the win.
Yeah.
This is my elk tribal deck. Rising Waters is the next enchantment. It's, again, all lands don't untap during their controller's untap. That basically could have summarized this list with 3 types of cards.
Yeah.
People don't like chaos. People don't like having you play their spells. And people don't like their lands to be messed with.
Yeah, and I think that the next one is a really good one to end on.
Maybe it was. Oh, no. We'll see. Lands don't untap during their controller's untap step. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player untaps a land he or she controls. So, pretty strong. This one is actually a near and dear to my heart one. Hope, why don't you go ahead and tell me about it?
Emrakul?
Yeah.
The Promised End?
Yeah.
Why is it near and dear to your heart?
No, you could tell your story. You deserve it.
Oh, okay. So I played this Emrakul. Me and Daniel were playing against each other. It was back in the olden days when I was a brand new little baby to Magic the Gathering. Daniel's playing an ally deck. I'm playing an Eldrazi deck. And it was awesome. It was on theme. That's why I have such a love for Zendikar. And anyways, and the Eldrazi in general. I know that everybody's like, I hate Eldrazi. It makes you a target. Mirror, annihilator this. I get it, but like, I like it. So anyways, so I'm playing against Daniel, and he 100% thought that he was going to win. And
I was doing pretty good.
He was in a really good board state, but here I am sitting here looking at my graveyard, seeing what kind of cards are in it, so I can see how much less Emrakul is going to cost me. And I'm like, excellent. I think I was as I think I had the highest amount
reduction
that she could be reduced. Yeah. So I was just like, waiting for my turn. Bam.
No, let me jump into that story. That's not what she was doing. I was playing my turn, and she took a picture of her hand with it and me playing my turn in the background, and it said, it was a Snapchat that she sent to me. And it was, when your boyfriend's trying to have a fun battle for Zendikar, but you're about to wipe the whole plane. So, she did that.
Forgot about that.
She did that, passed the turn, and dropped Emrakul, the Promised End, on me.
Yeah.
Took my turn, swung all my creatures at her.
Yeah.
To kill them, all of my important ones.
Yeah. Because allies really matter. Like, they build up each other.
She got all of the good ones, and then just steamrolled me with this flying 13/13 trample protection from instance monstrosity.
It does sound like something I would do. That was hilarious. That was one of my greatest early on wins ever.
It was a good time. Again, this is actually a card that I don't think is so bad.
Emrakul?
Yeah. One of our friends, Xavier, actually ran it in a Yannette deck. It's the Esper Sphinx.
Yeah.
So when it attacks, it's either attacks or deals damage. You reveal the top card of your library. If it's an odd cost, you can cast it for free.
But cast?
Yeah.
Nice.
It was a really, really cool card. Yeah. So he was able to constantly, a lot of top deck manipulation. It was very, very interesting. I haven't seen a deck like it. Yeah. He's actually the only one I've ever seen play that deck, and it's the inspiration for me wanting to build one, actually, because I haven't seen that deck in a long time.
Shout out to Xavier.
Shout out to Xavier.
We love him.
We'll do 3 more here.
All right.
3 more and we'll end there.
All right.
Okay, so Thassa's Oracle is the bane of CEDH players right now, and in my opinion, one of the easiest ways to win because all you have to do is make them draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a hard thing to do. Yeah. Thassa's Oracle is when it enters, look at the top X cards of your library where X is your devotion to blue. Put up to 1 of them on top of your library and the rest on the bottom in any order. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win. For anyone who doesn't play CEDH, the whole play style is exile your library or draw your library out, play Thassa's Oracle, you win the game. Even if they destroy Thassa's Oracle, the win triggers on the stack.
Yes.
So you can exile or you can do whatever. You have to have a stifle to stop the trigger, or just force them to draw, and they lose.
Tempo Bell. Hilarious.
Folio of Fancies.
Yeah, Folio of Fancies.
Folio of Fancies, rough.
Favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. Void Winnower is one that salts a lot of people, but again, I don't dislike the Eldrazi
I
in
find
general.
that Void Winnower salts people more than the Titans when I play it.
Yep. Well, again, this is another one that in that Yannette deck can be hit for free.
Yeah.
Your opponents can't cast spells with even CMC. 0 is even.
Yeah.
Your opponents can't block with creatures with even CMC.
Yeah, and it's a 9-drop for an 11/9.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's very strong. And yeah, it does tilt people because, like, when you think about a lot of, like, counter spells and stuff like that, like, a lot of them are 2 costs. A lot of them are, you know what I mean? Like, that's...
Well, your commander might be an even cost.
Exactly. A lot of commanders are, like, 4 and 6 costs.
This slots well into Gaddock Teague. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough. Narset is, again, on the list, obviously.
It's the uncommon.
Parter of Veils.
Yeah.
1 double blue. Starts at 5 loyalty, only has minus abilities, but its static ability extremely strong. Its static ability is why Leovold is unplayable. It's each opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn. And if Narset's here, let's bring back Leovold. Let's just see where it goes. The box topper's beautiful. Unban it.
Nah, it ain't gonna happen, Doug.
Unban it, please.
It's not gonna happen.
Let me run it and Prime Titan in a deck. Come on, I can dream, Rules Committee.
It ain't gonna happen.
I can dream.
Listen to me, please.
Its minus ability, -2. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land from among them. Put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order. It's a pretty good -2 ability, but it's very, very strong static ability.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. There's no way to see the next one and not talk about it. We'll end on this one, and I'll let Hope read it.
So this one is back to basics, and it's non-basic lands don't untap during the controller's hand steps.
It is
untap steps.
Rough. Yeah. So this Recs Golos, this Recs, somebody in your play group has those pricey, fancy dual lands. Cut that nonsense out with 3 mana.
Well, and the thing too is that it there are cards that can affect lands that can be annoying, like a Blood Moon or something.
Blood Moon is annoying.
But you can still use your lands.
Yep.
They're just mountains now. Back to basics.
Yeah.
If you're playing anything more than 2 color, like, you're done.
Yeah, well...
It ruins my entire Dragon deck.
It does. Like, the better your land base, the better this card is to play against it. And I love playing games. It frustrates me, but I love playing games when I'm, like, in Golos, and I just have my guild gates out, and then... Yeah, I drop this out, and they just don't get to untap it. I just sit there and glare.
Yeah.
Start making desperate deals with the table. Please, someone remove this, and I will not kill you with it. And everyone's like, oh, well, you can't kill me right now anyways, so...
Yeah, so you're not a problem.
Yeah, it's a pretty good card. We will end on that one. Non-basic lands don't untap is a great spot to end.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other ones, and I'd like to go through the rest of the list when we've got Brian back over here, because...
I really think that the Back to Basics, that was a really good example of, like, a really heavily played salt card. You know what I mean? Like, other cards, sure, they might be saltier, but this one is one that I see on the reg.
Yeah, and I like I said, I think Brian would genuinely enjoy this kind of an episode, so I would really like it. Brian was busy this week with the Mega Bowl stuff that was going on. Yeah. So if you tune in and check that out, that's where Brian was. So
yeah, and if you actually didn't tune in, check it out. I think it should be on the Canada Geeks.
It's on one of the YouTubes. Yeah, we'll be promoting it and having links up as well, so you can see it. Yeah.
Socials, so.
But yeah, that's this is the episode, Cooking with Salt. Tell us what you think. Like, what makes you salty when you play? Like,
yeah, because like we said, some of the cards on this list, although we understand the logic, a lot of them aren't really in our meta, so they don't affect us and we don't find them salty. So I'm curious what goes on in other people's play groups and other people's metas. I'm just interested to see like what.
Yeah, let us know. Like, what salts you?
Yeah.
Is there something
why?
that's problematic in your play group?
Or something that's just like a potential, like has a lot of potential to be abused that we just didn't talk about and maybe people aren't talking about.
Yeah. Also, are you a baby and dislike centriplets? Let me know.
Oh my God. Daniel, are you a bully?
Me? Are you a baby? Also me? Cyclonic Rift should be banned. It shouldn't be in the
it.
game. I hate it. I'll set it on fire. Wow.
I hate Cyclonic Rift.
Listen, it's called a double standard for a reason.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Daniel's a baby. Let's end it on that. So check us out on our social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can feel free to join us on our Discord. We also do live streams, so definitely subscribe to our Twitch. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, thanks so much for listening.
Thanks.